This is it then, 2 rallies to go and just 5 points separate the top 2 drivers. Ford's Mikko Hirvonen and Citroen's Sebastian Loeb. The 5-time world champion looked to be back on track with an emphatic win in Australia, but the celebrations were cut short as a paperwork error meant his Citroen was deemed to have illegal anti-roll bar links. Loeb was handed a minute penalty, which gifted first place to championship rival Hirvonen.
He didn't earn anything with this piece, and finally I lost 4 points. So, but it is like that. I forget it and just try to concentrate. Now my job is to try to win. It's what I will try to do, and for the rest we will see.
So instead of being just a single point behind Hirvonen, Loeb now finds himself 5 behind. And to make things worse, 2 wins will not be enough for the Frenchman. He now has to rely on someone else to beat the Finn. In the manufacturers, Citroen have a 13-point lead over Ford, and if they can beat their rivals by 6 points here in Spain, the title will be theirs once more. As a rally, Spain is as close as it gets to circuit racing. The stages are fast, wide roads with smooth, flowing corners. Driving style will be critical. Fortunately for Loeb, Spain is a happy hunting ground for both him and Citroen. In fact, the team have taken the top 2 spots on the Catalonian tarmac for the last 3 seasons. But unlike previous years, the pressure is really on both Loeb and Sordo to repeat the feat.
I didn't want to get in this situation, but okay, everything is still possible. We are in Spain. It's a rally where we have done some very good results in the past, Danny also. So if we could do a result like in the 3 last years, it would be perfect.
For Hirvonen, 2 second-place finishes will be enough, but this is tarmac, his least favoured surface, and he knows that even second spot would be a huge achievement.
It's going to be extremely hard. I mean, Sodo has been here second, I think, now 3 times in a row, and he's really fast here. And also Sebastian Ogier, I'm sure he's going to be fast. And then who knows how fast Petter is going to be with Citroën. So it's going to be a hard job for sure.
It really is going to be tough. Ogier is another Frenchman who was brought up racing on tarmac. And then there's Petter Solberg, who's finally been given a 2008 spec Citroen C4. He's not a tarmac expert, but he does have huge experience on these Spanish stages. The rally is once again based in the tourist town of Salau. The coastal resort is about an hour's drive south of Barcelona and hosts the service park. The rally itself is identical to last year with 18 stages in all, totaling 354 competitive kilometres. Coming up, this is a massive weekend for the Citroen team and especially Danny Sordo. We chatted a Spaniard about having to help both the team and Loeb here in Spain. Tarmac requires a totally unique driving style, and we have a look at what it takes to master the art of driving on the black stuff. This year, penalties have had a major impact on Sebastian Loeb's championship run, but the Frenchman's not the first to suffer at the hands of the stewards. We take a look at some of the more memorable incidents in recent years. And of course, there's all the drama and the action from the rally itself. The ceremonial start took place on Thursday evening on the seafront in Salau. And there were no surprises when the home nation's hero, Danny Sordo, received the biggest cheer of the night. Critical weekend ahead for the man from Santander. But let's move on to the action, and here is the information on the first day's stages. Day 1 of Rally Spain is the longest of the event at 132 kilometres. There are 6 stages in total, with 3 in the morning, and these are repeated in the afternoon. The first stage, La Massara, provides a real test for the drivers and the tyres, with several downhill hairpins towards the finish. The second is more typical of the Spanish stages. It's double width with fast flowing corners. The third is narrower, but still quick, and this one could be tricky on the second run through, as several of the corners are dirty and slippery. Mikko Hirvonen will be first into action as the championship leader, and on the Catalan tarmac there will be no road sweeping to worry about. Mikko focused on the job ahead. He comes into this rally having had more tarmac tuition and extra testing days with the team as he tries to challenge the tarmac experts in the Citroen team. One of them now. Sebastian Loeb is next into the 20-kilometre La Masara stage, and as the winner in Spain for the last 4 years, he is the overwhelming favourite to do so again this season. Classic section of Catalan road here, fast and flowing. A neat driving style is crucial, and Sebastian is the best in the business on stages like this. Citroen's number 2 follows. Home hero Dani Sordo has a big part to play this weekend. The Spaniard is more than capable of winning his home event, but his role will be to back up his world champion teammate and hopefully ensure Citroen retain the manufacturer's championship with 1 round to spare. Hirvonen, meanwhile, is well on his way into the stage now, and we can get an early indication if all Mikko's hard work on his tarmac technique has paid off by checking on his pace using virtual spectator. And approaching the 11-kilometre split time, roughly halfway through the stage. Look at this. Mikko is quickest. 7/10 up on Sordo and 1.9 faster than Loeb. What a start this is for the championship leader. It's early days, of course, but this could be an incredible opening stage for Ford's number 1. Loeb will be pushing hard. He knows nothing less than a win will do. And there's Mikko's time. It's going to be very close. Wow, he's a second slower, a very unexpected start. Last year, Sebastian was 7 seconds quicker than Hirvonen on this stage, but not this time.
That's tricky, very tricky. The start was very humid, difficult to warm the tire, and so the car was very nervous. I have some understeering.
Dani Sordo is fast approaching the end of the stage, and the early morning damp is making this a tricky opening test. But the question is, can Dani beat Mikko's blistering start? He was down on Hirvonen at the midpoint, remember, and this looks like it's going to be close too. He's fastest. That's a great response from Dani. He's a second quicker and takes the lead of the rally. Latvala, meanwhile, has really struggled on this slippery opening stage. He ends it almost 18 seconds down on Sordo's time. Not the start Ford's number 2 was hoping for. And a first glimpse now at Petter Solberg in an up-to-date car for the first time this season. The Norwegian's had a few days of testing in his new Citroen C4, but it will take some time for Petter to adapt. Still, it's an impressive start. He's 4th fastest, beating Latvala.
Open hairpin left, tightens neat.
So Dani Sordo makes the perfect start at his home event. He leads by a second over Hirvonen, with Loeb down in 3rd, 2 seconds off the opening pace. Petter Solberg is 4th with Latvala 5th, 1 place ahead of Ogier. This season, Spanish hero Dani Sordo has played the role of the number 2 driver to perfection. Citroen are poised to retain their manufacturer's title if they beat Ford by 6 points here in Spain. Dani's consistency has proved that he's acutely aware of his role within the team.
My job is the principal job for the team is to win the manufacturer champions, no, with Sebastian and me.
He knows one day it will be his turn, but for instance he said no problem. I know why I am there. Don't worry, I will get the points for the manufacturers, and that means for me it's quite easy to manage. So I think Dani, for me, for the team like Citroën, is the best solution.
When comparing Sordo with Ford's number 2, Jari-Matti Latvala, the Spaniard has scored manufacturers' points on every round of the season. As you can see, Dani has so far been the decisive factor in Citroen's defence of their title. This weekend, Sordo has a new challenge, that of helping Loeb in the Drivers' Championship. Sebastian is in the unusual position of being reliant on his teammate to beat Hirvonen and claim a 4th consecutive Citroen 1-2 here in Spain.
That's something I cannot do anything for, so I just try to concentrate on my race, and we will see. We know that in the past we had some good results here, and so we can be confident.
If we finish 1st and 2nd, we win the manufacturer championship, and after in GV, we can go flat out with our pressure.
Having done so much to help the team this year, Danny must be chomping at the bit to take the step up to be challenging Sebastian and Mikko for victory. Is he ready for that move?
I'm quite sure he could win. And the day when he will win his first rally, he will have a psychologic in his mind. You will see after he could be maybe one of the best drivers.
Normally I am all the time in the top 3 and very close with Sebastian, Mikko and Jari-Matti, and I like that. I like this progression because he's in every rallies, in all the surface, in different surface. And I think when I will win one rally, I can win the other one.
On to stages 2 and 3, and conditions are slightly drier than the opening test, but there are still a few damp patches around. And Sebastian Loeb has slipped into his familiar tarmac rhythm. Despite his lingering understeer, the 5-time world champion beats Hirvanen's time by almost 5 seconds in stage 2 and then smashes the Finn in 3, beating him by over 10 seconds.
100 mètres. Droite sans compte bon long, vraiment pas corde. Ouvre.
Surprisingly though, Seb is still not the quickest out there. That honour continues to go to Spanish sensation Dani Sordo. Danny's once again doing everything the team's asked of him. He knows that he will have to let his teammate win, but he is comprehensively beating Mikko, and for now he can bask in the glory of leading his home event. Peter Solberg looks to be getting to grips with the Citroën C4, which he's driving competitively for the first time. The 2003 world champion looking very composed on these twisty tarmac roads, and he consolidates his hold on 4th place.
I really enjoy and I can go much faster, but let me get into the rhythm a little bit. It's very different, this car, you know, but it's very good.
And there is more good news to come for Citroën as Sébastien Ogier begins to show his expected pace on the Spanish tarmac. Despite a frustrating brake problem, he's 5th fastest in the 24-kilometre El Montmel stage, and the Frenchman takes 5th from Jari-Matti Latvala. Confirmation here that the leader is Dani Sordo, 4.8 seconds up on his teammate Loeb, whilst Hirvanen's drop further back, now over 19 off the pace. It's back to service at Portaventura now, and a chance for Hirvanen to assess another dominant display by the Citroëns.
Mikko, seemed to be a good start this morning, but what happened in stage 3?
Well, I kind of have a feeling that when the tires are wearing, so basically the grip is getting better, the car handling is a lot worse, so feels like there's so good grip in the rear and it just understeers in every corner, so it's really impossible to attack or drive really fast.
It seemed to be a bit of a cautious start, but then in stage 3 you took a lot of time out of Mikko. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's but if you look at the times, it's the same as last year. We were not so much quicker than Mikko in the 2 first, and in the 3rd we are a lot quicker. And Dani is a bit quicker than last year, and so it's difficult to beat him.
What's the plan this afternoon? Are you happy you can maintain that pace?
Yeah, of course I am happy, but this afternoon I need more direction in the car. You know, it's a lot to understand, and maybe now also for the tires will be more difficult because the temperature is very hot now, and with these tires, when it's really hot, it's hard for the tires.
And Dani may be inspired by the presence of his fellow Spanish sporting superstar Alberto Contador. The cyclist who won his 2nd Tour de France this year was an interested onlooker at the Citroën service area.
Dani is very good, no? Many years, the last 3 years, I think 2nd in the overall, but I won this year 1st, but it's not easy.
And be good to see the cars this afternoon.
Yes, this afternoon I will see the race in the helicopter, and tomorrow I will go also in the car.
That's exciting.
Yes.
So it's a Citroën 1-2, but for once it's Sordo who leads. But not everyone is finding these Spanish stages as easy to master. Welcome back. The afternoon loop features a repeated run through the 3 stages used this morning. It's still very hot out there, and Mikko Hirvonen begins Lamasara 19 seconds behind the leader. Almost stalled the focus there. He does get moving, but that wasn't the tidiest getaway from Mikko. That's more time lost for the Finn, who will be feeling the frustration after such a promising start.
Jatkuu oikein täys. 7. Lyhyt oikein täys 120.
With his understeer issues resolved at service, Sebastian Loeb should be even quicker this afternoon. It's an ominous thought for Hirvonen, and Loeb does indeed look very quick.
200 mètres. Ciel tout droit.
Quick pace note change there between Seb and co-driver Daniel Elena. But has Loeb done enough to concern rally leader Dani Sordo? The home hero is giving the local fans plenty to be proud of. He's really attacking the Catalan roads this afternoon. The end of stage 4 is fast approaching. And he makes it 4 stage wins out of 4, beating Loeb by just 1/10 of a second.
I lost in the middle of the stage a little bit brake, but at the end it's coming better. But it's okay. The car is better now in the corners. Not too much understeering, but it's harder for the tires now with this temperature.
Petter Solberg has continued to impress on his first outing in a Citroën C4. He'll be relishing using competitive machinery again, and the experienced Norwegian is in 4th and setting an impressive pace in the 20-kilometre Lamasara stage. In the fight for 5th, meanwhile, Jari-Matti Latvala is trying hard but can't seem to find a good rhythm. He needs to move up if he wants to help his team retain some hope in the manufacturer's title, but with a setup issue at the rear of his car, the Ford man still off the pace and falls further behind Sébastien Ogier. This is how things stand after 4 stages then. Sordo holds an advantage of 4.9 seconds over his teammate Loeb, and Hirvonen is now 18.7 seconds behind his rival for the championship. The 2009 season returns to tarmac for the first time since the opening round in Ireland. This sealed surface requires a specific set of skills. The 3 most important factors are racing line, braking and tyre preservation.
You have to use some good lines. The grip is completely different. You don't have to slide too much, because when you are sliding you lose a bit the grip of the tire and you lose some time. The line you take in the corner is very important to have a good speed in the exit, and that's important, sure.
It doesn't matter so much what happens in the mid-corners. It's more important what happens before and then after the corner. That's where you make the time.
The braking is different. You can do short brakings on gravel, but on tarmac you need to have long brakings, not aggressive, smooth brakings.
It's important everywhere to brake on the limit of the car. For sure, the limit of the car on tarmac is a lot. On the brakes is a lot later than on gravel.
On gravel, when you brake, you can slide the car and you can brake that way as well. So it doesn't matter so much if you brake a little bit too late on gravel. You can just put it sideways and then still make it. But on tarmac, it needs to be perfect all the time.
The more aggressive you are on tarmac, it means normally more heat for the tire, and when the heat goes too high, you lose the performance of the tire. So that's why basically the smoother you drive, the less heat you load for the tire, and then the performance keeps better.
If you are really aggressive all the time, especially on abrasive tarmac, that's going to wear the tire out. So if it's long stages with abrasive tarmac, maybe you need to brake a bit more carefully and accelerate out of the corner a little bit nicer.
As the dominant force on this surface, we ask Sebastian Loeb what the secret is in tyre preservation.
You just try to keep I don't want to say.
Before we rejoin the action at the front, let's catch up with some of the lower runners who could do with some of Loeb's tarmac tips. Evgeny Novikov returns to the Citroën Junior team with Stefan Prevo as his co-driver for the first time. He gives the Belgian an early scare. Novikov is coming under a bit of pressure from behind too, with Stobart Ford's Matt Wilson running just 4.3 seconds back in 8th after stage 4. Henning Solberg freely admits he's not the biggest fan of tarmac events. The Norwegian started well, but has faded as the day progressed. He's currently 9th. Munchie's Ford driver Federico Valagra is just behind Henning in 10th. He is still in the running though, which is more than can be said for Khalid Al-Qasimi. An oil leak means it's an early end to his day 1 run, which ends in the road section after stage 4. Another frustrating weekend for the man from Abu Dhabi. Back to the front runners for the final 2 stages of day 1 now though, and 45 more kilometres for Hirvonen to make an attack on the runaway leaders. It's been a spirited effort from Ford's number 1. He's not at his most comfortable on tarmac, but he's still giving it everything to stay in touch with the Citroëns. Sebastian Loeb begins stage 5, just 4.9 seconds behind his teammate Dani Sordo. Alberto Contador has flown out to watch the action. Seb flashes past the reigning Tour de France winner, and he claims his first stage win of the rally despite overheating brakes. Alberto keeping a close eye on his compatriot there as Sordo shows how to tackle these quick tarmac stages. He'll be well aware that his teammate is on a charge. There was only 4 seconds separating them at the start of the final stage, and Loeb is fastest so far. What can Dani do? He's slower, but does just enough to maintain the lead, ending the day just 1.6 seconds ahead. Petter Solberg's in 4th place. The Norwegian has found his rhythm amazingly quickly in the C4. The white lines on the sides of the road give a great feeling for Petter's racing lines through the stage. The 2003 world champion pushing hard and maintains 4th place.
4 left tightens, give in, and line into 2 right minus, tightens early. Opens long, give in, to 2 left minus, tightens.
So a great first day in Spain for Dani Sordo, who leads his home event, but Loeb has reduced his advantage to just 1.6 seconds. Hirvonen's now over half a minute behind his championship rival. The pair continue to go head-to-head after the break. Welcome back to the sunny Costa Dorada. Before we get back to the action, here's a quick look at what lies ahead. Day 2 of Rally Spain could prove to be critical in the 2009 championship race. There are 6 stages with 3 in the morning, which are repeated in the afternoon. The opening stage, El Priorat, is the longest and toughest of the event at 38 kilometres. It contains the famous El Molar hairpin, a favourite for the Spanish fans. In all, there are 128 competitive kilometres for the crews to tackle. On to the action then, and a real treat awaits. El Priorat is not only the longest stage of the weekend, it's also arguably the most spectacular stretch of road of the whole rally. And after his stunning drive on the opening day, it's home hero Dani Sordo who's first into the stage. Perfect conditions this morning compared to Friday's damp start, and Dani wastes little time getting up to speed. Next into the stage, and just 1.6 seconds behind his teammate on the leaderboard, is Sebastian Loeb. With the wide flowing road snaking out ahead of him, the Frenchman is inch perfect as he searches for the fastest line. It's looking like an impressive start already for Seb. A rejuvenated Petter Solberg begins the second day 25 seconds behind Mikko Hirvonen's 3rd place. The former world champion has a tarmac win on his CV in Corsica 6 years ago, and driving a 2008 spec Citroën C4 for the first time, Petter has adapted incredibly well. Sordo's already completed the stage. Loeb, of course, knows Citroën will not allow his teammate to win with 2 drivers' championship points at stake. But even so, the Frenchman will want to prove he's the quickest on tarmac. If Seb can better that target time, he'll move into the lead for the first time, and he could do this. Whoa, nothing between the Citroëns to the nearest tenth of a second. Loeb and Sordo now share the lead.
I didn't have the splits of Danny. I had one at the start and one at the end, but I don't have. Maybe when the gap was too important, they didn't tell me. I don't know.
As the Citroëns continue their own private battle, Hirvanen's been powerless to prevent them edging further away. But this telemetry shows how hard he is working on one of the tighter, twistier sections of this stage. Keep an eye on the brake use indicated by the red light. Mikko is still trying to perfect the art of braking late and hard on tarmac. And once again, he's slower than Seb, who's the master on this surface. Evgeny Novikov's already given his new co-driver Stefan Prevo a few scares on their first rally together. The erratic Russian has shown good pace though. He's currently running in 7th.
Open 0 long.
Oh, but that is another mistake. The massive impact has ripped off 2 wheels. Evgeny is acquiring a worrying reputation for spectacular incidents, and that is another costly lapse in concentration. It proves that if you get your braking points slightly wrong on tarmac, the consequences can be catastrophic. After 7 stages then, the 2 work Citroëns are locked together at the top. Hirvanen's now a distant third, almost 38 seconds off the pace. Peter Solberg's still 4th, but has a fired-up Ogier just 20 seconds behind. Matt Wilson and Federico Villagra move up following Novikov's off. As we've heard, braking points are crucial on these tarmac stages, and here we can compare Loeb and Hirvonen using virtual spectator. The red line represents when the cars are braking, and you can see that Loeb's significantly later on the brakes into this stage 7 corner. Hirvonen also needs another quick dab to set his car up as he turns in, which is more time lost. Loeb's then earlier on the accelerator, which in turn helps him carry more exit speed. He's 5 kilometers an hour quicker on this bend. The margins are small, but over a long stage they soon add up. Loeb looks to be inching towards a win here in Spain in a bid to retain his driver's title, but it's not been an easy season as the champion has been pegged back by penalties on 2 occasions this season. This isn't the first year that Loeb's been punished by the stewards, though. Back in 2002, the Frenchman took to the roads around Monte Carlo and looked to have taken his first ever WRC victory. But his team were later deemed to have changed his tyres in an illegal area, and the Frenchman was hit with a 2-minute penalty and dropped to 2nd. But Loeb's not the only driver to have suffered at the hands of the rule makers. In the same year in Argentina, Marcus Gronholm led the rally, but on the 2nd morning, he received illegal assistance from his team when trying to start his car. Sadly for Tommy Mäkinen, the decision to disqualify Gronholm wasn't announced until after the event, so Tommy had no choice but to push for victory. It ended in the biggest accident of Mäkinen's career. Greece in 2004 provided one of the more entertaining penalties as Peter Solberg stormed into the lead of the rally, only to receive a 30-second penalty for not having mud flaps on his car. Peter did at least go on to win the event, and the team were finally able to see the funny side. In 2007, it was Ford who were hit hard by the stewards in Portugal. An administrative error saw the cars fitted with rear windows that were 3mm thick instead of 5mm, and all 6 Fords entered received a 5-minute penalty. The biggest loser was Marcus Gronholm, who dropped from 2nd to 4th. But this year, Loeb's been punished twice. The first time was in Sardinia, when he and his co-driver Daniel Elena were deemed to have taken off their belts when the car was still moving. They received a 2-minute penalty, which dropped him from 3rd to 4th. Then most recently, Loeb again lost a win for an infringement over his anti-roll bar links. In all, the Frenchman's lost 5 points, which is currently the difference between him and Mikko. Back to the action, and so far the world champion seems to have kept his nose clean. After the epic 38-kilometre stage that started the day, these 2 shorter tests will be a lot easier on tyres, so the Citroën drivers can really give it everything out there as they resume their fight at the front. It's still incredibly tight, but Sordo loses the outright lead to Loeb in stage 8 by just 0.2 of a second.
Sur droite à fond, sur gauche on a moins cordé.
And joining Danny now in stage 9, he's showing little sign of giving up the fight. Spaniard guiding the perfectly balanced C4 through La Lena here. And the Citroën battle continues. Sordo promptly moves back into the lead. Seeing little point in taking excessive risks in a foolhardy pursuit of the C4 drivers, Mikko Hirvonen is focused on keeping Petter Solberg at arm's length at the moment. He's actually slower than the Norwegian in both these stages, but loses less than 2 seconds overall.
Pidä 3, oikein hidas sumppuun, 5, huomio, oikein hidas aukeaa.
Sébastien Ogier, meanwhile, is continuing to grow in confidence on his first regular tarmac rally in a WRC car. He claims his first stage win on tarmac in stage 8. By the end of the morning loop, he's less than 19 seconds behind Solberg. After stage 9, the Frenchman is just 18.7 seconds behind Petter, and behind Ogier, Latvala is more than 41 seconds down. Out front, Sordo is back into the lead. He's 9/10 of a second up on his teammate. Welcome back to Spain. It's been an exciting morning, and Dani Sordo will be thrilled that in a straight fight he leads teammate Loeb.
Yeah, it's really great battle, no? And I enjoy a lot in the stages. I think I had a very good confidence with the car.
We are in a situation where we need to keep the concentration and to have this little fight is good for that. For me, I prefer this than to be alone and to say, okay, what can I do now?
Hirvonen is 43.7 seconds behind Loeb. The question is, what can he change at service to try and claw back some of that time?
Well, we're definitely going to try something, but then again, we don't want to do massive chases. Otherwise, if we go completely in the wrong direction, then maybe Petter is now, he's not so far behind, and maybe he starts to catch me. So we can do small things, but not anything, nothing big.
The afternoon loop is about to get underway, and the crowds are out in force. With a lot of corner cutting on these roads, there could be some dirty sections where gravel's been pulled onto the tarmac. So, with the two Citroëns not showing any signs of wanting to back off, let's join rally leader Dani Sordo straight away. El Priorat is famous for the El Molar hairpin, which has become a magnet for Spain's famously boisterous fans. And this reception for their home hero is sure to give Sordo and Catalan co-driver Marc Marti a real boost. Sébastien Loeb is currently just 9/10 of a second behind his teammate. It's just been announced that Citroën will be retaining the services of Loeb and Sordo next season. The world champion could still make a sensational F1 race debut at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix later this year. He's proving his circuit racing credentials again in Spain. But it seems a full-time switch to F1 is not an option for 2010. Petter Solberg is really pushing. He's been beating Mikko recently, and he also needs to keep half an eye on the charging Ogier behind him. He's raised the right height of the C4 slightly at service and seems to be happy. Back to Hirvonen, and the Finn has maintained his terrific pace in here. He has a chance to beat the rally leader for the first time. There's not going to be much in this. Yes, a good stage for Mikko. He's quicker than both Citroëns for the first time, but it makes little impact on his overall deficit. Sébastien Ogier will hope he can maintain the terrific pace he's already shown on this second day. Despite Petter Solberg's strong start to the stage, Ogier powers through the last few kilometres, claiming his second fastest time of the day, and makes another couple of seconds up on Solberg. After stage 10, Ogier is now just 16.2 seconds behind Solberg. The Norwegian is over 28 behind third place Hirvonen. The Citroën still dominate, with Sordo currently 2.1 seconds ahead of his teammate. A quick check on the runners further back now, and it's been a frustrating weekend for Jari-Matti Latvala. Ogier's pace is proving too hot to handle for the Finn. Jari-Matti still down in 6th, and the Citroën drivers flying. Ford's lingering interest in the Manufacturers' Championship is fading fast. Matt Wilson is the leading Stobart VK Ford driver in 7th. Under little pressure from behind, the Brit is looking good for a point-scoring finish in Spain. Federico Villagra suffers the embarrassment of stalling in front of the mass crowds on stage 10. But the Argentinian national champion still holds the final points place in 8th. Henning Solberg, though, has his eyes on Villagra's position. Henning has struggled to find a good rhythm on the Catalan asphalt so far. He's just over half a minute behind Federico after stage 10. Two more stages to come on day 2, and let's get back to the boys at the front, where the all-Citroën duel has shown little sign of easing up. Rally leader Sordo is still looking very controlled. After stage 11, his lead was just 1.1 seconds. Orny seems to back off a bit here. That looks very deliberate. Has he conceded the lead as we head into the overnight break? So an opportunity for Loeb to reclaim the lead. The focus of Citroën's weekend is to ensure Seb wins, but they also want the manufacturer's title. Loeb should get back into the top spot here. Yes, he leads again. Seb is now ahead by 1.5 seconds. Kievanen has done a solid enough job of keeping Petter Solberg at bay, but there are signs that the Norwegian is finding some form in his C4, so Mikko has a nervous final day ahead of him. And as if to prove the point, Solberg ends the day in style. He's second fastest in 11 and then takes his first stage win in the C4 in 12. Petter is now just 22.4 seconds back. So another perfect day for Citroën. Loeb is back in the lead, 1.5 seconds ahead of Sordo, while Petter Solberg and Sébastien Ogier could do Loeb a favour and pressure Hirvonen on Sunday's stages. Loeb leads Sordo here in Spain, and if it stays this way, Citroën will be champions. Join us after the break for the final day of Rally Catalunya. Welcome back to Spain for the Rally de Catalunya. Before we get back to action, here are a few more details about the route ahead. The final day of Rally Spain is the shortest of the event at 94 kilometres. As with the previous 2 days, there are 6 stages in total. These are fast public roads. Watch out for the roundabouts in Rua de Cañas, where the fans turn out in their thousands. The rally ends with a sprint through the 4 kilometres of La Serra d'Almos. This is it then. Citroën are just 94 kilometres away from retaining the manufacturer's title. A nervous morning ahead for Sébastien Loeb and Dani Sordo. Having been the perfect team player and conceded the lead to his championship-chasing teammate the previous evening, Sordo still seems keen to prove his pace. Dani claims the first stage win of the day in Rua de Cañas and closes right up on Loeb again. It's become a bruising weekend for Evgeny Novikov's new co-driver Stefan Prevost. The pair have restarted under the Super Rally rules despite the heavy damage sustained on their Day 2 crash.
Caution, one hard, attention. The right one half short. Left.
Oh, not again. Well, Prevost may be wondering what he's got himself in for. It's another misjudgment from Novikov. A very similar accident to the previous days. The young Russian is talented, but his levels of concentration still leave a lot to be desired. There are no dramas for anyone else on the opening stage as the crews head towards Santa Marina, which is the longest of the final day at 26.5 kilometres. Rally leader Loeb is well aware that these fast-flowing tarmac roads could still cause problems. Interestingly, despite having numerous cuts marked on his notes, Loeb opts to keep his C4 on the tarmac for fear of picking up a puncture. It may mean a slightly slower line, but a safety-first approach is understandable with so much at stake. He's still second fastest in stage 14 and quickest in 15.
70 mètres, attention, droite ferme 110 plus Milan au mur.
Seb may be hoping that Petter Solberg can still challenge his championship rival Hirvonen for third. In his new C4, Petter has shown rapid improvements. The Former world champion claims another stage win in Santa Marina and is within 23 seconds of Ford's #1.
And 3 left plus arm long tightens to don't catch Ford. Right plus tightens.
Hirvonen will be grateful he's already built up a healthy advantage. As Petter is making this final morning distinctly uncomfortable. He needs to finish third to stay in the championship lead. Nico is hoping to look after his car with Wales in mind, but he responds by beating Sordo by almost 2 seconds in stage 15. No need for Sordo to push now, though. The Spaniard's role for his team already fulfilled to perfection. Citroen's #2 begins to ease off the pace. Danny is still close to his teammate, though. He's just 2.3 seconds behind after the morning loop. Loeb looking safe then, and Hirvonen's held off the threat from Petter Solberg so far. The gap between third and fourth now 24.8 seconds. It's been a fantastic drive from Sordo, and Spanish legend Carlos Sainz was at service to share his thoughts on the 26-year-old.
And a few words about Danny Sordo. He's proved that he's finally come of age.
He has done a good job. I think he's really prepared now to win his first rally, and now he has to keep improving on the gravel, and I think one day he can become champion.
The final loop of stages in Spain begin with a repeat of the 16-kilometre Rue de Cañas run earlier at stage 13. Loeb has rarely been troubled on tarmac in recent years, and although he's been more than matched by his teammate Sordo for speed, in terms of the win, no one else has come close. With Sordo backing right off, Seb's lead is up to 12.6 seconds after stage 17. With most men in the top 6 easing off, there is one exception, and that's Petter Solberg. He wins both stages. The gap to Hirvonen is still 17.7 seconds, but the Norwegian is in defiance mood.
I know it's been difficult many times, you know, through the years that maybe people have doubted, but up yours, the people have doubted.
Sebastian Ogier has sensibly realised that with Petter attacking so hard, risking a late bid to claim fourth would be a foolish exercise. The Frenchman has really impressed in the second half of the season, and it's looking like another strong result. Jari-Matti Latvala had long since conceded defeat in catching Ogier. The Finn has been remarkably consistent, though, setting 14 consecutive 6th place stage times. A solid drive from the 24-year-old for a likely 6th place finish. Matt Wilson, meanwhile, has done enough to see off the challenge of fellow Ford drivers Federico Valagra and Henning Solberg. 7th position equals the Brits' best ever tarmac result. With one stage remaining, Loeb's 6th win of the year is all but assured. He's 12.6 seconds ahead of Sordo. Hirvonen should be safe in third, although Petter has closed the gap to 17.7 seconds. On to the final stage, the short 4-kilometre blast through the bumpy, abrasive La Serra d'Almos. It seems for the time being a podium finish on tarmac is the best Hirvonen can hope for. With the works, Citroen's almost unbeatable on sealed surfaces. 3rd place and 6 points are crucial for Mikko's championship hopes, though.
3rd place, you desperately wanted 2nd, so in your books it'll be a failure?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't the best rally, but you know, it's gonna be all in now in GP, so that's gonna be a summer rally. But you know, not a bad weekend. We'll see how it goes in the last one.
And Danny Sordo can take great pride from one of his finest ever performances. While the Spaniard was never going to be allowed to win if Loeb was running 2nd, Danny has at least more than proved, all being equal, he's more than capable of claiming his first ever win. He's again played the perfect team role for Citroen and his teammate.
The manufacturer championship is really well important and big step for in the drivers' championship for Sebastian and also for me, and this is a very good weekend.
Loeb, meanwhile, has had to wait a long time to get back to winning ways. After being denied his victory in Australia, his last win was in Argentina back in April. By the Frenchman's high standards, it's been a terrible run. In Spain, though, there was rarely any doubt. He may have been helped by his teammates, but it doesn't matter now. It's win number 53 for Loeb and co-driver Daniel Elena, and an absolutely crucial 10 championship points.
Sebastian Loeb, another Rally Spain win. How tough was this one with Danny?
This one was tough because Danny was pushing very hard at the start. We tried to fight. Then we knew also that
we don't have to make any mistake, just fighting together. It's so important for us to finish. But we are really confident. It was really a pleasure to drive again on tarmac for me. It's a long time we didn't do that.
Another dominant Citroen 1-2 on tarmac then, with Loeb claiming victory by 12 seconds over Sordo. Hirvonen finishes third, almost a minute behind the leader, with Petter Solberg fourth and Sebastien Ogier fifth. With those positions converted to points, Loeb crucially gets 4 more than his championship rival.
Are you now of that 6th driver's title?
I'm not more confident than that. I know that Mikko will be very difficult to beat there. He's very good in Wales, and we'll see. But we have again a chance to win the championship, and that's the main thing.
I can say today, if we have World Championship for the manufacturer, I think it's Danny's title, you know, because without him we can't succeed. And the driver's title will be Seb's title. And I think for Wales it will be quite interesting because Mikko is a great driver, Seb too. So I think for the spectators, for everybody, it will be the best rally we ever seen.
It's official then, this is the closest championship fight since 2003. Mikko Hirvonen takes a 1-point lead into the final round. Danny Sordo secures third. Petter's 4th place helps him leapfrog his brother. And with their emphatic 1-2 finish, Citroen retain the Manufacturers' Championship in style. They now hold an unbeatable 21-point lead over Ford. Citroen are champions again after an incredible start to the season. Saw Sebastien Loeb win the first 5 rounds, backed up successfully by Danny Sordo. What had seemed to be an unassailable lead of 39 points briefly looked to be in danger after Loeb picked up a penalty in Sardinia, and then his dramatic crash in Greece heralded a mid-season surge by Ford. Going into this event, Citroen needed to beat their rivals by 6 points to take the title. A third maximum haul here this weekend has clinched the victory, which their early season dominance had set up so convincingly. Citroen have now equalled Peugeot's 5 manufacturer championships, and that puts them joint second to Lancia, who won the title 10 times.
Everybody says the pilot title is more visible, but for us, the first is Citroen. So I'm very pleased and very happy. Yes, it's great. And now Seb can still win the title, which is wonderful. We'll have a great rally in Great Britain, so I cannot imagine something better for now, today.
But here in Spain, Citroen hold the top 2 spots for the 4th year in a row, and they can now celebrate as 2009 manufacturer champions. Loeb's win here in Spain means the Drivers' Championship will be decided in Wales. See you there for the winner-takes-all decider.